Hello everyone, and welcome back to Helio Sports World once again. And we are on the back of a huge UFC London card which concluded this past weekend. Of course, some big performances on the night, starting from the prelims till the end of the main card. But particularly in this video, I will be talking about Ilia Topuria's performance against Jai Herbert, how he went from almost getting knocked out to knocking out his opponent in spectacular fashion, and a few other things related to the same subject. Just so you know, it's almost 4 in the morning at the moment. Um, so yeah, I would really appreciate if you guys could hit that like button and maybe subscribe to the channel as well. Anyway, welcome to the new video. Welcome to the channel. Let's get straight into it. Alright, so the first fight of the UFC London main card was a lightweight showdown between Jai Herbert and Ilia Topuria. Ilia, as mentioned, took this fight on relatively short notice, and Herbert, of course, being more of a natural lightweight between the two men. So, in my preview video for UFC London, I had mentioned that Ilia Topuria might have a hard time dealing with Jai Herbert's reach in this fight, and that was exactly the case. I believe that I believe I said that since Herbert was more of a natural lightweight, he might cause some troubles to Ilia, and then of course you throw in his reach advantage, which might be another factor in this fight. But interestingly enough, I also backed Ilia to win this fight, despite second guessing him a little for obvious reasons. I mean, throughout the fight, you could see that Ilia was having a hard time trying to figure out Jai Herbert's reach. I mean, Herbert is huge, and the height difference that he had with Ilia, that itself was clearly visible, and it almost looked like a mismatch at times to me. And just because of the fact that Ilia was not able to figure out Herbert's reach early on in the fight, he paid the price for it and got dropped early on with that head kick in that first round. In the early stages of the fight, you could see that Herbert looked very, very sharp in those opening few minutes. You could see how loose he was in there. His body language suggested the same. But right when Herbert dropped Topuria, he made that mistake of trying to rush into a ground and pound finish, and Topuria just got a hold of Herbert's legs and took the fight against the fence. However, though, once the fighters were back up on their feet, I do think that Ilia was definitely a bit reluctant to stand and strike with Herbert, especially after having failed to understand Jai Herbert's reach and having failed to understand how he would counterpunch someone like Herbert. But in the very last few seconds of the first round, I think this is where the fight turned in favor of Ilia Topuria, and I will explain how. I think in those closing seconds of the first round, when Topuria finally understood Herbert's reach as he slipped a jab and wasn't just committing himself to throwing an overhand right, knowing that he would probably get caught with a follow up shot. And then in the second round, things probably got a lot more clearer for Topuria as he just used the same method to slip the jabs, and using that technique, he got into Jai Herbert's range and the two exchanged a few shots. And you might have even noticed that Herbert missed a hook on his off his own, which allowed Ilia to go for that brutal body shot. And just when Herbert dropped his hands, Ilia just bam knocks him out with a brutal shot. Incredible fight and very smart thinking from Ilia Topuria, and this just goes on to show the value of fight IQ in a fight. I mean, value of fight IQ in a fighter. I mean, to get dropped like that in the first round, and then to understand your opponent's reach and knocking him out like that in the second round was just massive thinking from Ilia Topuria. So, following the fight, of course, Topuria taking full advantage of his time on the microphone, calling out Paddy Pimblett as many expected him to. Topuria and Paddy, of course, got into that scuffle in the hotel in the lead up to UFC London. But realistically, I just don't think that the UFC will book Ilia Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett, especially at this stage. The UFC probably knows how much of a threat Ilia could be to Paddy at this given moment, and they're probably aware that it wouldn't be smart matchmaking on their behalf. I mean, Saturday night pretty much proved that how big of a superstar Paddy Pimblett is. I mean, this guy felt like the real deal at UFC London. I mean, starting from that pop when he first walked into that octagon Saturday, and the pop that he got when Vargas tapped out. I mean, those were just insane. This proves how big of a star the UFC has in their hands now that Paddy Pimblett and in the form of Paddy Pimblett, I mean, the guy is very marketable. So expect the UFC to exploit their market in the UK surrounding Paddy the Baddy. But regardless, though, a fight between Paddy and Ilia would be fun. I mean, I know that Paddy tends to get hit a lot in his fights, so there are chances of Ilia possibly dropping Paddy with his power. But of course, Pimlet is very good on the ground as well. For now, I'm going to say that we saw a glimpse of his ground game this past weekend against Vargas. Personally, though, I would like to see a little more of his ground game against higher level competition. But given that Paddy is actually quite good on the ground, there is a chance of him putting up a solid fight against Topuria on the mat. Anyway, we shall see. Still very early days. For now, let's hope we get to see Paddy fight a bigger name than Kazula Vargas. Whereas for Ilia Topuria, he is currently ranked at number 15 in the featherweight division. He probably wants to fight someone in the top 10, but personally, I think the UFC needs to rebook Ilia Topuria versus Movsar Evloev. That fight right there is worthy of a main event. Two rising featherweight contenders who have the potential to become the UFC featherweight champion someday. Should be another incredible fight at 145. Other than that, I do think that Topuria has a few other options in his hand. He could possibly fight Sodiq Yusuf, who's ranked at number 11 at the moment. Bryce Mitchell, top 10 opponent, ranked at number 9. I would love to see him go up against Ilia Topuria. Should be another great fight, especially now that Bryce has established his place as a big threat in the division. And yeah, big performance from Ilia Topuria, and congratulations to him, Paddy Pimblett, and all the other big winners from UFC London. We shall see how things play out in the 145 division and in the 155 division moving forward. Very interesting times, rising contenders, and yeah, I shall see you guys in the next video. Hit that like and subscribe button just because of the fact that I'm recording this at 4 in the morning. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.